and then he went into Publix. She said she took that opportunity to escape, run into the Publix, contact employees and ask for help. Some of the employees took her into a back room, kept her hidden, and contacted 911, and that generated the call that the officers responded to. Officers who responded were able to identify the suspect, locate him walking in the parking lot back to the van. He resisted officers' demands to stop, and he entered the van. Officers had to remove him to take him into custody. He battered one of the officers. He resisted arrest, and he had to be restrained by use of a taser. He is currently in custody, and the kidnapping allegation of Davy, as well as a sexual battery allegation that she made, are both ongoing investigations at this time. Davy PD is responsible for the kidnapping, Port St. Lucie Police Department for the sexual battery.
Chief, can you explain a little bit about how she was able to get help inside of the Publix?
So the exact details on that, I got to be a little bit scarce because it's an ongoing investigation. She was not restrained within the vehicle in a way that she couldn't have gotten herself out, so she just got out, walked inside the store. And
you indicated earlier that I guess she was sexually assaulted at a restaurant off of I-95 in Gatlin. Or in the van at this restaurant? What restaurant was that?
Yeah, I can't say that right now. We'll get that when we're able to release that.
And then they just drove over to Publix for some reason, and the gentleman.
So they were planning to drive up to Georgia, is my understanding. So they're going to pick up some supplies.
And he went into Publix and just left her in the van?
That is correct.
And then she goes into Publix?
That is correct.
Okay.
Do we know how the two know each other at this point?
We have an understanding of the relationship that they had. It was kind of, I provide you this, you provide me that type of situation. They were familiar with each other.
About how old is the victim?
35.
The affidavit says he had a tumbler, he was drinking. Was it alcohol? Was he under the influence as well? Would that be a charge as well, or?
We do not have a DUI charge on him at this time, if that's the question.
Do you know roughly when the alleged kidnapping occurred? Was it a few hours earlier?
Just prior, yeah. The distance driving time between Davie and Port St. Lucie.
Did she have any injuries?
No injuries were reported. She was taken to the hospital, obviously, for the sexual assault investigation.
Does he have any priors for anything similar to this?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Do you have any idea where she was picked up in Davie?
I don't know. That'll probably be part of their investigation.
So what are some of the unknowns with this right now, Chief? Is there stuff that, I know it's still such an active investigation and it involves another jurisdiction as well. What are some of the pieces that you guys are really still trying to put together?
Probably the more difficult aspect of is any witnesses, anybody familiar with them, any in their relationships. That would be in Davie, right? So that's outside of a jurisdiction. It requires time to travel. Additionally, there was communication between the two via cell phone. We have phones. We are going to be doing. We have search warrants for the phones. We are going to be examining those. The communication that took place between the two are usually very key in helping us understand what actually occurred. So that's also ongoing.
Was there any reason why they pulled off in Port St. Lucie? Like, did they have any ties here, or just happened to be where they got off?
No ties here, just big city, lots of availability, right place, right time.
How's the victim?
She's doing well.
Are they both cooperating with law enforcement?
To varying degrees. Varying degrees. Not all information is forthcoming.
Is there anything you want to say about the Publix employee? I mean, it was quick acting, it was quick thought.
They did great. I believe it was more than one Publix employee, but yeah, they absolutely did great. They did exactly what they should have done, so we're appreciative of that.
Does it seem a little, unusual that she would go into the store where this guy is? Like, because there's a zillion other stores around there in that plaza.
I think there are many questions that are obvious, and that would be one of them, right? But just remember that an allegation of a sex bat has been made, and we take those very seriously, and I don't want to do or say anything to call into question the validity of it until a complete and full investigation's done.
Good. Anything else you'd like to add?
I'm ready for the next case, sir.
The 3-year-old drowning.
All right, so we had a tragically sad weekend in Port St. Lucie. It began Friday evening around 7:30 p.m. when officers responded to a drowning call on Southwest Edison Circle. 3-year-old had been found floating in the pool by his father, who was at that residence babysitting for a friend's 4-year-old. Present, he had his 3-year-old and his 3-month-old child. The 2 toddlers were inside the house together. The father had just finished feeding the 3-month-old, put that infant down to sleep. Then he returned to the kitchen and realized the back door was open, and he saw the 2 children in the backyard by the pool, the 4-year-old on the pool deck, the 3-year-old floating in the pool. Immediately jumped in the pool, retrieved his 3-year-old. Rescue responded. They arrived prior to police. They took over CPR from the father. Child was transported to Treasure Coast Medical Center and ultimately pronounced.
No other adults at the house?
There was one father who's there babysitting the children.
And that, again, that was for a friend of his.
Correct.
So at this moment, it's just a very unfortunate accident.
Very tragic. The pool was secured with an infant security gate. You know, it would seem the reasonable precautions were in place. We see these in Florida. They're not uncommon, and we've seen them at this agency, unfortunately, too often. The only thing you could say is be vigilant about keeping doors locked. If you've got toddlers, make sure you've got a lock that's out of their reach, above their height. Alarms in pools are something that we don't see a frequent amount of, but you can get them that they float and they will sound if there's any disturbance in the water when they're active. There were no cameras in the backyard in this pool, so there's no video for us to look at, and it's just really seems to be a tragedy, a tragic event, you know, and our heart goes out to the victims and the families in this case.
And Chief, when these happen, we've seen them on the national level make news, here on the local level, unfortunately, quite often, and there seems to be a lot of judgment initially, I mean, comments on social media and whatnot from people that have never been through something like this. Can you just speak to how quick these incidents, these accidents happen?
Yeah, I think judgment is the human nature, you know, reaction. It's like, how does something like that so horrible allowed to happen? And if you've never experienced it yourself, I guess it would be pretty easy to react that way, but it does happen very quickly. You know, the time it took him to pick up an infant, walk into another room, put that child down, and walk back, it was just that quick that these 2 toddlers were outside.
Good? All right. Chief, we're going to the 13-year-old.
So yesterday afternoon, we responded Southwest Maselli Way in regards to a missing 13-year-old autistic boy. He had been in his backyard with his mother, and he suddenly decided to take off running. His mother was unable to keep up with him and eventually lost sight of him. At that time, she asked a person that she passed in the neighborhood to call 911 as she continued to look for her son. Police responded. An immediate search began. Obviously, we focused on bodies of water right away. 2 bystanders had reported to police that they saw the young man wading into the retention pond that was right near the home. Police did locate an iPad that belonged to the child beside the pond. So we had a pretty good idea where to begin our underwater rescue. That being said, we had our drones in the air. We asked for assistance from other agencies for manpower. All available PSL PD units were in the neighborhood canvassing. So we focused on that lake, but we also continued the perimeter search for, you know, hoping to find him where we were hoping we wouldn't. Ultimately, our dive team marine unit responded. We also requested assistance from St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. Their dive team responded, and ultimately we recovered the young man 6 feet below the surface in the retention pond.
Do you know roughly how far out from shore he was at the time? Or
I would call it about 15 feet. 15 feet out, 6 feet deep.
long did this whole take from when the mother, when you initially ran off to when you guys found him?
So the call was about 2:15 p.m. and the dive team was able to get into the water at 6 p.m. and he was recovered just before 7 p.m.
And how far was this retention pond from where he was originally?
You could throw a baseball if you have a good arm between the home and the ponds.
And this is the second tragedy your department has responded to just this weekend. I know you guys have services here, mental health services. I mean, just can you talk to the emotional toll this just takes on the personnel?
So we hear all too often about, people throw around PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and it's true that military personnel, first responders, and other professions, right, you're exposed to multiple traumas over a long period of time, and it happens slowly and you're unaware of how these things are affecting you, right? So the concept is to make sure that you're addressing your personnel as they're being exposed to traumas. And that's something that we take seriously. We are in the process of coordinating 2 critical stress debriefs that'll occur, one for each of those incidents. We do them fairly frequently. And really it's just about providing mental health first aid toolkits for first responders. We routinely invite the other agencies involved as well as dispatchers because there are different types of exposure to these traumas. Anybody else? All right, guys. Thank you. I'm going to stand still for a minute.
Yes, I was going to say, we'll take all the work.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
Actually, I can't tell you how.
Yes, yes.